Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Cody the Coin Raptor, and in this bearish market, I want to go ahead and take the opposite approach. All right, there's been a lot of doom and gloom in the news regarding Bitcoin and Bitcoin prices and cryptocurrency in general. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a video today that describes 4 bullish events for Bitcoin, and I will tell you at the end of the video when I think these events are going to happen. So number one, we have the Bitcoin halving, okay? I made a whole video on the Bitcoin halving. Definitely recommend you check it out and what it does to the price. But just know that when Bitcoin goes through its halving, what's happening here is the miners' rewards are cut in half. Thus, the supply for Bitcoin is decreased. And this tends to happen just before a major bull market. Okay, so now the next Bitcoin halving is actually going to be happening in March 23rd. Now, this is kind of a cheat because I told you a little bit earlier that I'd tell you the specific time frames at the end of the video, but there's actual Bitcoin halving clocks that you can look at, and the estimate for this now is March 23rd of 2024. Okay, so the next major bullish event for Bitcoin is going to be the end of the Russia-Ukraine war. And the reason why I say that is because if we go and we take a look at the charts the day that Ukraine was invaded, we can see here that based on this, there was a strong negative reaction. Bitcoin actually sold off really hard when that information was announced, when that news was circulated, and actually went all the way down here quite a bit. That was a very strong, about $5,000 move or so. Now we can see that based on this, the candle wound up closing green, okay, for the day. But on the announcement of that event, we saw a pretty major sell-off. So I think that when the Russia-Ukraine war finally does come to an end, then we will see an opposite move, and we'll wind up seeing Bitcoin actually climb higher instead, and we're going to see a positive move in the stock market as well, and the Nasdaq. If it happens during the week, we're going to wind up seeing a positive move from the stock market, from the Nasdaq, and correspondingly, we're going to see a positive move for Bitcoin as well. All right. So my next bullish event for Bitcoin is going to be the adoption of a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, this is really important right here. This one is essential, okay, to any sort of huge move in the Bitcoin price. And so the Bitcoin spot ETF is going to be an ETF that actually requires the ETF authority to go and buy Bitcoin to support the demand for the ETF. So as people buy the ETF, they have to buy Bitcoin to support that. Okay. So what we have right now is we have futures Bitcoin ETFs, exchange traded funds, which are not the same thing. Those are actually not required to buy Bitcoin, and these spot ETFs would be required to buy Bitcoin. So the reason why this right here is so important is because the previous bull market actually had information on the futures ETFs getting approved, and that had a pretty large increase in the Bitcoin price correspondingly. So in regards to having this Bitcoin spot ETF, so Europe has spot ETFs already. Canada already has a spot ETF as well. I think it's only a matter of time for the SEC to approve a Bitcoin spot ETF. All right. However, what we're looking at here for that would be, potentially speaking, it would require most likely a change in SEC commissioners. Okay. And so that would potentially be after the election in 2024. That's entirely possible. There are a lot of things in play. There's a lot of opinions on the matter. But I think that in order to get this done in 2024 or 2025, there would have to be a change in the government. And that would require a change in SEC thinking and likely different SEC commissioners that would approve that Bitcoin spot ETF. Okay? The next event that I have here is the Fed lowering interest rates. And again, I made a whole video on this as well. This one is very important, very important. Underline this a couple of times because there is no Bitcoin bull run. There is none of that stuff happening without the Fed lowering interest rates. All right. So we go and we take a look at the, zoom out here, and I've shown this to you guys before, but just to reiterate my point here. So we have the Bitcoin. I put up the monthly right here. And then if you overlay this with the Fed funds rate, we can see here that based off of this, when the Fed funds rates are high, Bitcoin is low. And when they're low, Bitcoin goes on a monster run. All right. And if you guys are really curious, I'd like a deep dive on this about Fed and Bitcoin and their relationships with each other. But just know that if the Fed starts lowering interest rates, we could see a big bull run after that. Now, when is this going to happen? So this, potentially speaking, is a little up for debate as well. I went over here to Morningstar, and Morningstar said that they expect the Fed to cut interest rates in 2023, and they're saying mid-2023 or so. And I think that's definitely very possible. All right. And it would be very slow at first, 50 basis points, 75 basis points, just initially over a couple of months. And then hopefully they would wind up speeding it up. All right. So those are my 4 bullish events for Bitcoin. And my timeline for that is I expect these events to happen either in 2023, 2024, or 2025. None of these events are going to be quick events that happen overnight. We're going to have to wait for many of these events, especially when it comes to the Bitcoin Spot ETF approval. That one's going to be the hardest, but that one is also going to have the largest impact on the Bitcoin market. As soon as that Bitcoin Spot ETF is approved, we could see a massive jump in the Bitcoin prices, and then that could also lead to a huge rally in altcoins as well. And some of the events are fixed, like we have our Bitcoin halving already set. Okay. And some of these events are open for interpretation. It's probably going to wind up changing depending on the economic environment, such as the Fed lowering interest rates, which could happen in 2023. But anyways, I thought I'd just go ahead and make a video today just talking about the bullish events that I expect for Bitcoin. And each one of these bullish events could have a huge impact on the Bitcoin price. And this is one of the reasons why I am bullish long term, because I see that in addition with adoption, you also have several bullish events that are coming in the future. Okay, so if you guys like this content, let me know, like, subscribe, and go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I would definitely appreciate a like or a follow on Twitter. This is Cody the Coin Raptor, and I hope to catch you in the next video.